Today's session for building firepower, training explosive power. Gonna be training here my anaerobic lactic system, anaerobic lactic acid system for explosive power, force production. I always start off with plyometrics to get the nervous system nice and ready, get the nervous system firing, to train elasticity, my lower extremities, to maintain fast twitch, to maintain speed, agility. I always follow those 7 basic movement patterns. I always incorporate some kind of lunge movement. I'm gonna be doing a rotational movement. I'm gonna be doing like a couple of different hip hinge movements. And of course, a push and a pull. So total body, explosive power. So let's get to it. All right, so now that my prep work is done, feeling nice, nervous system is feeling firing, everything's feeling good. I feel good today. I got good rest, good sleep last night, so now I have to rig up. I need to put my safety bars right here because I'm sort of doing a quarter squat, a quarter split squat. So improving force production. So the amount of energy that I can put into the ground, I'm developing that here with this movement and many other movements. And this transfers to sprinting, this transfers to kicking, jumping, all right? So I'm rigging that up because that's what it takes. Oops, I gotta go down. That's what it takes when you got a garage gym, is a lot of rigging things up. And when you're scheduling, you got to kind of account for that, breaking things down, setting things up. It takes some time, but it's worth it. And the more you start to experiment, the more you start to learn you start building an arsenal of various movements that you can do for a certain movement pattern. There's so many different variations to train various movement patterns for different energy systems. And the more you start to experiment and play around with variations, the more you develop a arsenal and you start learning to modify, you start learning to rig things up to work in your advantage. Oops. Long hair problems. And a pin squat too, at that angle, you're feeling it in the hamstrings as well as glute and quad. And again, these are the areas that are engaged when you're at full sprint. When you're putting force in the ground, you're at that angle. When you're kicking, that's the angle you're at right here. So that's why pin squats are great for improving your jump, your sprint, your ability to develop force production. Throw the resistance bands on here because the resistance bands are good for increasing tension as the weight goes up, unlike just with the weights itself. Right here, it's the same weight the whole time, but as you get to the top, the tension is increased with the band right here. So that's another good way to improve overall explosive strength and strength in general. So that's why I always throw the bands on for the working set. So right here, these are gonna be short reps of just 3. There, that's my spot. Oof. lost my balance on that last one. Rest for about 15, 20 seconds, and I go again. We're gonna come over here to the landmine snatch, the Landmine University hand-to-hand snatch developed by Alex Canellis from Landmine University. I'm gonna be using that here for my explosive hip hinge movement. And it's a compound movement because you're starting at the hips right here. Your hips are hinging, you're exploding from the ground up, and you're catching it right here. So it's a compound movement right here. And then I'm going to superset that with, I'm gonna come over here. I'm gonna do a box depth jump here, banded for force absorption and explode up. So here, I'm going off the floor, bam. Here, I'm coming down, I'm bouncing off the floor to see how much height and depth I can get right here. So just a bit of contrast training to this aspect right here for developing explosive power right here. And again, this explosive power is applicable in this type of context. Bam, you know, bam, all that type of stuff. Bam, it's also applicable in this sense. If you're here and you need to move that way, cutting, or this way, jumping for a rebound or something, right here for a sprint, that's what this is for right here. Building fire power, getting that inner fire we have harnessed, getting that, conjuring it up and exploding. Once you learn the movement that is, then you do that. If you don't have the foundations of the movement, you need to practice the foundational technique of any movement before you start trying to employ gathering up a lot of that firepower and emitting it outward. Oops, got a little sloppy with the hand there. My footing is off. Other side. All right, box, depth, jump, resisted banded, trying to explode off the floor, absorb force, explode off the floor. I'm trying to get my head flying through this roof. Oops, I was a little bit off on that. Sometimes I'm too much in a hurry and I need to focus more. Here we go. One rep to that side and go to the side. Now I'm getting into singles. Always look at my foot positioning. The end of the bar is always lined up with the mid-tarsal of the lead leg. And the back leg is always about the toe, is always about the top of it. And I'm down here and this right hand's right here. I'm done with this set, and sometimes I like to just do one rep. I want to throw on another 45. Let's just do one 3-plate snatch on each side. Hands got caught up right there. So with some of these big explosive movements, once you understand the foundational movement patterns and you feel like you have a good understanding of the neuromuscular mechanisms involved in executing a movement such as this, that's when you can start visualizing and trying to feel your body at an entire cellular level, conjuring up your inner fire and exploding outward. So your fire is everything, the neural synapses in your brain and your heart and your gut. It's the glycogen you have stored in your muscles, everything. You're putting that together and you're trying to unite with this weight and explode in movement all together you visualize it, but you're putting everything into that movement. So your entire body, you're trying to materialize that inner fire and explode outward. All right, so moving on to this next set. Here I'm gonna be doing some short spurts of pulls. And I'm come down here to a med ball variation, explosive med ball push-up. So I'm adding the bands here once again to maintain tension in this movement. Put the collar on. I'm going for 15 reps. Whew. This next exercise within the circuit is a rotational movement for speed. So I'm going for 20 reps right here. So that was this week's set for building explosive power, power endurance. Like I always say, anytime we move, no matter what modality of movement that you're using, you have an opportunity to give thanks for your health, for what health you have. You have an opportunity to give thanks to your body, your legs, your arms, your heart, your mind, your liver, to give thanks for all these things right here that allow you to live and walk in this world. And movement is an opportunity to celebrate that, to celebrate your health and not think so much about what health you don't have, but think about what you do have and build upon the strengths. And in doing that, we build that internal fire, that fire that we are all born with. It was attached to us at birth, that never was taken from us. No matter how much pain and grief you have endured, your fire's still there. Sometimes it may have burned dim, but we build it back up. Like I always say, through meditation, ceremony, foodways, being on the land, being with loved ones, practicing empathy, compassion, love, care, honor, respect, honesty, bravery, all these teachings you practice. And of course, through various modalities of movement, everything from dance to swimming to strength training, kettlebells, running, sprinting, hiking, canoeing, horseback riding, any form of calisthenics, yoga, anything, pickleball. It's all movement, and it's an opportunity to celebrate what health we have, celebrate our time in this world as human beings. And we build our fire when we do that. Like I always say, you use that fire in this movement. You conjure it up, and you use that to move weight, to move your body, or to explode, or to be fast. And in turn, that fire gets stronger. That's what I believe here. So I'm just sharing this here just to inspire. Always just to inspire. And if you see something in here that you think works at your regimen, give it a shot, give it a run. Let me know how it goes. So once again, I just shared to inspire. Keep your fire strong.